Hello and welcome to the Skillwork Forum. We're going to gather here today and talk a little bit about some of the problems and challenges that are facing you and the industry at large with respect to skilled labor shortages across the country. I'm Tim, and I'm with my partner here again, Brett from Skillwork. And today we want to talk about, actually want to pose a question, and the question is, how much is the skilled labor shortage really costing you in real dollars? And I think that's an important question because obviously it's on our mind all the time when we run our businesses. What are our costs? What are things costing us? So recently we worked with two different companies, completely different spaces, but this question came up with both of them. One of them, very large national company, distribution is their business, distributors. The other one is a small local company focused more on auto care and customization. So two completely different companies, but during this process of discovery, as we go in and try to understand their business and what their challenges was, we helped them identify what were their real costs to this lack of skilled labor that they had, but also uncovered some of the hidden costs. And that's really kind of what we do as part of our process, is help companies recognize and solve not only their skilled labor shortage, but close the gap on some of their costs in this arena. So, Brett, I know you dug in with both those clients, so you have some insights on that.
Yeah, no, it's always interesting. I mean, it's a part that it's a part of the business that I really enjoy. From a standpoint of, it's easy to just kind of, run in and say we can solve your problem. But a lot of companies, they know the initial problem is they don't have the talent they need. But a lot of them haven't totally done the discovery work to understand what the real problem is, which is what's it costing you not to solve this problem. And so that's always a part of it that I enjoy, kind of being somebody who, ran businesses and now we have this business. So the distribution business that Tim referred to, they identified their needs to us. They were really struggling to find basically warehouse, forklift operators, that type of thing, and then also mechanics. They operate these large distribution centers that have, some refrigerated space and different things. So they have a need for mechanics, which is really probably more of our sweet spot than the distribution or the warehouse, but we can do that too. So. But it was interesting in doing the discovery with their head of HR, as Tim mentioned. They've got, I think, 40-some locations across the country, and so. But they had gone down the same path that we see a lot of companies in the last 10 years, as they've recognized this shortage of skilled talent. They have increased their HR departments and overhead by adding internal talent recruiters. And so it's not so much that the people they're hiring are not good recruiters. I mean, I'm sure they are good recruiters. The issue that we find is that the problem was more that the talent wasn't there. They're trying to look locally for talent, and the idea that you just hire more people to look for it will somehow solve it, doesn't really work. She had shared with me that they had 9 internal talent recruiters, and that they weren't finding anybody. And so we, being the sarcastic person that I am, I recommended that they just pay us half the money they were paying those 9 people, and we would meet their output, but at least they would save some money. So obviously that wouldn't be a real solution for them. But it's kind of crazy, when you think about it, Tim, that people are throwing that kind of money and really seeing, little to no solution for it. And so
so that's that big company, distributor, they're doing, like you said, a lot of bigger companies, they can afford to we'll put more talent recruiters on there, go after it. And we talked about this in previous podcasts. The spend on HR is continuing to go up. As a matter of fact, even in 2020 and beyond, companies are spending more on HR for things like this for internal talent recruiters, but expecting less results. So that's the path they're going down, and it's not uncommon that they go down that path, but they're still not getting the results that they need, which is costing them, a lot in terms of not only just pure dollars of hiring that HR, but the loss of productivity from not having the skill workers they need. So flip that a little bit now to the second vignette, and right about the same time you were meeting with a smaller company,
Yep.
You're local, same problem. They can't get the right folks they need. So talk about that one a little bit.
Yep. It was a totally different space, and so this company, they basically do what they call kind of after car accessories type items. So you go buy a car and then you want to get the windows tinted, or you want to get a clear coat on it or whatever. Most of that is not done at the dealership. So this company, good sized company, here locally, they've got a few places, so they have a really nice business. But in their situation, they couldn't find, kind of the talent they needed. But what we really identified, as we really sat down to do the discovery of, because their question was, we need the talent, but I don't know if being a smaller company, if you can, if we can afford you, is what they were really saying. Was can we afford the cost of you going out and get it? Now, once we started to do the dig into what they were currently doing, it's a little cliche to say it, but I would almost have, I am having conversations with them now about you probably can't afford not to hire us based on what it's costing you. So what we identified, more than just the fact they needed the talent, is what we find in a lot of companies. Again, we talked about it in a previous podcast, how they've lowered the bar. And so this company in particular, they knew how many, for example, they have a thing called a clear bra, which is what goes on the front of a car to, used to back in the old days.
You had to clarify that for me, because my mind went to something else, and
I thought I better do the clarification. In the old days, they had these like leather things you would put on. I don't know if you're old as Tim and I, you've seen them, but today it's a little more sophisticated. They can actually put a clear piece. You don't even see anything on there, and so it's a big deal. A lot of comes to it, but it's a skill to it to get it put on there and get it done correctly, and window tinting and that kind of thing. There's a skill to all that, and what we identified as we were talking about their need was that somebody that had 2 years of experience in that plus could do 3+ of these installations a day. The guys that had less experience could do 1 a day, and on top of that, they needed assistance from the other guys, which took away from their ability to what they could do. So what we really identified was to say, well, what does each one of those installations, what's the margin to you in that, and type of thing. And so it was really pretty easy math to go, you don't necessarily just need me to find you more. The truth is, these underperformers are costing you, we identified each one, it was costing them somewhere between $10,000 and $15,000 a week.
Yeah.
For what I could solve their problem for about $1,000 a week. So, it's fairly easy math when you really start to look at what the cost of efficiency or underperforming is.
Yeah, and we see that across a lot of different industries too. The fact that, you're lowering the bar, you're bringing in people. It takes time from your staff that you're depending on today, and maybe you're struggling to get by today because of your lack of skilled talent. And now you're taking some of their time and attention away to train, even if they're qualified and competent. It still takes time, so you're losing efficiency there. And then if they're unable because they just don't have the experience, you've lowered the bar. Now you are instead of advancing the ball, you are actually causing a bigger drag and causing more headwind for your company. So I think 66%, they could do 66% better, or 2/3 better, by getting the right worker in there. So the opportunity cost of 2/3 of a full-time equivalent a day, which you were able to put that in real dollars. So there's a real cost associated with not taking a look at those underlying real costs and the opportunity costs that go with it, and the hidden cost of the drain on your talent, the drain on having to pull them away from what they're doing. At the rotating door, when you get somebody near inexperienced, they're not good at it, people don't like to do jobs they're not good at, then you lose that talent, and you get into a cycle. The morale happens, and the people you really depend on, they start looking for another opportunity, and then they're out the door. So this really becomes a compounding problem. So it's crucial that you either look at the real and underlying cost, or reach out to somebody like Brett is very good at giving some insightful recommendations on your company. And it's what we do. We'll come in. It's absolutely no cost, no obligation. We're happy to come in and partner with the company and take a look at your challenges, and maybe we can help you find that there's actually not a cost. It's actually, this is an investment.
That's right.
And it's going to help you advance your company.
Yep. No, Tim, you bring that. You use that analogy, often on cost versus investment, and I think when your mindset shifts to that, when you invest in the talent, it really will pay dividends in a variety of ways in your business. Probably and almost guaranteed direct to the bottom line, but also just what it does for your business from a culture standpoint. Example of the auto company, the senior guys were frustrated by the fact that the company keeps hiring these people that don't know what they're doing, and now I got to fix their problem, and you still expect me to do all this work. So it becomes a cultural,
really
issue as well when you don't solve the talent shortage.
Well, not only that, if I'm Tim's Chevy dealer and I'm trying to give my business to you, and that's not happening at the pace that I need it to, well, I'm going to go find somebody that's going to do that. So I have missed an opportunity to expand my business and to keep a customer. So there's a lot of opportunity cost associated with this, and this change and mind shift that it's not a pure dollar per hour analysis. It in all cases goes deeper than this. Even for the distribution company, initially our first discussions with them is, hey, we need some warehouse help. And as we begin to get in there and start having discovery, it's, there's actually more. There's actually mechanics, and we need some electrician help, and we need some, how can you guys do anything better than our internal staff can't do? So just opening yourself up for the discussion doesn't cost anything, and who knows, we may be able to actually provide some insights that could help you in the business that you're in too. So don't have to settle for the old approach or less qualified workers with no guarantees they're going to stick around.
That's right. Yep. And I think it's critical that that you really, like we say, understand those costs and the opportunity, to solve the issue that that this idea of continuing to settle, for underperformers, is a common theme we hear. In my background, I was guilty, to be honest. I owned a food manufacturing company, and we were doing the same thing. Where we used to would have had 15 qualified mechanical technicians, we had allowed that to creep to 20, and somewhat ignored the cost of that. And the reason we had to let it creep was because they just weren't as talented anymore, and you were
20
dealing
to do
with
the same job
it took 20, and you had this constant turnover, so you tended to overstaff, which is exactly the guy that had the 3 or 4 underperformers to get the windows tinted and the clear bras put on and that kind of a thing. He was doing the exact same thing we were. He was trying to meet his client's need, but he was doing it in a very inefficient way, and it's almost like you're just on this treadmill and you don't know how to get off of it.
Right. Not only that, but if I'm owning that company, I'm doing it the traditional way. I'm putting out want ads, I'm
Yep.
going to, recruiting job boards, and I'm going through the process of interviewing them. It takes on average 1 to 4 months, depending on what you're looking for, the skill set, location, 1 to 4 months of your time and focus where you're not running the business, or you're hiring somebody to look at this, you're bringing them on. And the cost of that, just the cost to do that old approach. Let's assume you're trying to solve this the old way. So you're finding underperforming people.
Mm-hmm.
It's costing you 1 to 4 months. On average, human resource management study for this organization, the cost of that is on average about a little over $4,000 and takes about 42 days. That's
Yep.
cost. That's real cost there.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
and not to mention the cost of a bad hire
Yep.
is what you talked about, and morale and starting the cycle all over again. So I think Career Builder, we had a statistic about $7,000 to $10,000, the real cost for a bad hire. So there's a lot here that I think you can begin to unpack. It's not just your guy costs this and my guy costs this. It's a lot more complex than that.
No, it is, yeah. And I think, Tim, that's kind of our, when we look at this, I think the opportunity to really, a lot of companies have somewhat gotten a little bit jaded in can we solve this problem anymore? And so, like you said, they're accepting less. They're even accepting less with their own internal. A lot of it's interesting, that piece on getting back to the distribution, where they had hired their own recruiters and done that type of thing. But it's interesting, we're starting to hear more companies who are starting to look at that investment and question it, where they're going, I don't know, we've created all this fixed overhead that now we have to spread against our business, and we're not really seeing if they're fair and they really look at what they're getting for that. They're really starting to question, is there a better way? Can they partner with a company like Skillwork and see a better solution and have no fixed overhead? Like
Or
any
reduced.
Yeah, we get.
Yeah.
You pay us if we give you results, no other way. And so.
Right, and that's a great point. That if we don't deliver results, there's no cost. So it's a little bit different than you still got to keep that staff paid if they're part of your permanent staff. So we believe in a performance-based model. So we perform. We show up every day to do that, to help you not only solve your problems, but maybe give you some insights into what are your real costs, what are your hidden costs, and the opportunity cost of lost business that's hard to quantify, but really is probably the biggest hit on your company. So leverage an external company like Skillwork, or somebody that does things the way we do, to come in and help you. It doesn't cost anything to get a consultation, get some help. A wise business leader will always seek some outside counsel. So at a minimum, we can come in and do that. I know Brett and your team, you lead up our client managers here, and they're focused on trying to help solve their problems, understanding what they are. We don't come in with a ready-made solution. We come in to listen. And you talk about that all the time, right?
Yep. No. Our number one goal, is to understand the problem. We're not as Donald Miller and Story Brand. Some people that'll connect to, and some people that won't. But we're not the hero in the story. We need to understand your problem, and then together we can put forth a solution to help. But it really, in the end, in business, it really comes down to what's it costing me not to solve this problem, and from there forward, it be like we say, it becomes an investment in your business. So.
Yeah, and I like one of the things that you've said before here is that you can't save your way to growth.
Nope.
Saving and being cost conscious is crucial, but you have to invest to grow, and you have to think about this in terms of an investment rather than a cost, or looking at it just on a pure dollar-to-dollar savings, because I guarantee you there's cost and hidden costs there that it's really creating a headwind for your company that in these times you don't need. So hopefully this topic today was helpful to you. Again, we look forward to the opportunity to engage you in dialogue and discussion. If you'd like to reach out and maybe delve into this topic a little bit more, call, reach us, let us see if we can come do a consultation. We'll come talk to you. And there's nothing that's, no strings attached. It doesn't cost you anything to have us talk to you. And if we can help you, we'll be honest with you. If we can't, we'll be honest with you that way as well. It's part of our core culture, our core values, integrity and honesty. So we look for the opportunity to help you with your problem. So thanks for joining us today on the Skillwork Forum. Come to our website, skillwork.com. If you have any questions or concerns, you can connect with us there. Until next time, God bless.